Hello everyone, I'm Kenshin. Welcome to History Explained. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Also, don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Thank you. Today's historical mystery is the last alchemist, Fulcanelli. Throughout history, people from all over the world have pursued the ability to achieve immortality and turn base metals into gold. From the ancient Chinese alchemists to the medieval European alchemists, the pursuit of alchemy has persisted. As mentioned earlier, even the great scientist Newton was believed to be an alchemist. Today, I'm going to talk about Fulcanelli, who is considered the last alchemist in history. Not much is known about this person. It is speculated that he was born in the 1920s, and even his name, Fulcanelli, is debated. Some say it's a pseudonym. The most reliable information suggests that he was a Frenchman educated in alchemy, architecture, art, science, and languages. His name appears in 2 books he published, and his greatest work, The Mystery of the Cathedrales, was passed down to his only student, Eugène Canseliet. The story begins with Canseliet. In 1922, Canseliet demonstrated alchemical research at a gasworks in Sarcelles, France. In front of 2 witnesses, he used a small portion of the philosopher's stone, also known as the philosopher's stone, to transmute 100 grams of lead into gold. He claimed this was given to him by his teacher, who had successfully obtained the philosopher's stone and even achieved immortality. This teacher is the most mysterious and the last alchemist, Fulcanelli. First, let's talk about the philosopher's stone. In the field of alchemy, it is believed to not only turn base metals into gold, but also grant immortality, making it the ultimate pursuit of alchemists. This means that Canseliet indicated Fulcanelli had achieved this goal, and even today, some claim to have seen him. Sean Martin, the author of The Alchemist of the Philosopher's Stone, said, Fulcanelli is considered the only alchemist of the 20th century to have obtained the Philosopher's Stone. This mysterious figure has very limited recorded information. The earliest records are from his first book published in 1926, The Mystery of the Cathedrales, and his second book in 1929, The Dwellings of the Philosophers, both completed with the help of students. Later generations came to know about him from these 2 books. However, what puzzles people is that Fulcanelli disappeared after instructing his student to publish his works. Despite the fervent interest in mystical alchemy at the time, he vanished without a trace in his 80s. The book reveals that the secrets of alchemy are hidden around us, such as in the sculptures of cathedrals like Notre Dame in Paris. Consequently, fervent believers continuously flock to these buildings, hoping to glimpse and unravel the secrets of alchemy. Alchemy teaches that minerals are actually living beings capable of transformation and evolution, much like humans. Fulcanelli once told Canseliet, the crucial point is not the transmutation of metals but the transmutation of the alchemist himself. This means that alchemists seek their own spiritual elevation, transcending the limitations faced by ordinary people, such as death. The ability to heal death is the elixir of immortality, also known as the philosopher's stone. He also stated, the secret of alchemy lies in a method that can manipulate matter and energy to generate a field. This field, as he described it, is akin to what modern scientists refer to as a force field. This field acts on the alchemist, granting him a privilege when facing the universe, allowing them to access the hidden truths of time, space, matter, and energy. This resembles many Eastern religious practices that aim for enlightenment. Therefore, the pursuit of alchemists is their own spiritual elevation, with the philosopher's stone being a byproduct. Canseliet once said that his teacher was no longer present, not in the sense of death, but in another form. He wrote in his book, Under the influence of the sacred flame, all illusions, errors, and vanities such as names, families, and homelands will return to dust and be reborn from the ashes like a phoenix, with a new personality emerging from the ashes. 30 years later, Canseliet received a letter from his vanished mentor Fulcanelli. The handwriting confirmed it was indeed him, requesting a meeting in Seville, Spain. However, upon arrival, he was led to an unknown location in the Pyrenees Mountains, eventually reaching a high-altitude castle. Inside, he found expansive lawns where children played, all dressed in clothing reminiscent of the 16th century. This discovery puzzled him until he realized it was the secret base of alchemists. Soon after, he encountered his mentor Fulcanelli, who appeared to be over 110 years old. Despite his age, Fulcanelli's appearance resembled that of Canseliet in his 50s. Astonishingly, Fulcanelli even appeared to grow younger visibly. One morning, while strolling in the garden, Canseliet saw 3 women in dresses approaching. To his surprise, one of them turned out to be Fulcanelli himself. This transformation into a hermaphrodite indicates the highest stage in alchemy, beyond the elixir of immortality and the philosopher's stone. Fulcanelli advised Canseliet, "My son, one day you will no longer be able to practice alchemy. At that time, you need to seek rare and fortunate lands along the southern border." True to his words, Canseliet soon abandoned alchemy, with memories of these experiences becoming increasingly elusive, almost dreamlike. Friends even speculated whether the mentor and student met in another dimension. Afterward, Fulcanelli was never seen again. In June 1937, in a physics laboratory in Paris, France, André Herculanum, an assistant to Dr. Arcade Berger, a nuclear physics pioneer, continued his work. Late one night, a stranger knocked on the laboratory door and engaged Berger in discussions about nuclear fusion and weapons. Later, Berger claimed the stranger was Fulcanelli, warning Berger of the dangers of his work, which could threaten humanity, just as ancient civilizations, knowledgeable about atomic energy, faced utter destruction. Berger believed throughout his life that this stranger was actually Fulcanelli, whose repeated appearances in numerous publications have become part of the legend. Years later, Berger learned that an atomic pile could be described as a geometric arrangement of extremely pure substances, requiring neither electricity nor the use of a vacuum to release nuclear power. Berger concluded that this stranger must have been decades ahead of official science. Fulcanelli's identity seems elusive. In the 1930s, Robert Amberlane, a student of esotericism inspired by Fulcanelli's books, investigated. Initially, he approached the earliest publisher of Fulcanelli's books, who disclosed that in 1926, a stranger visited, discussing coded seals in Gothic architecture without revealing his name. Weeks later, Canseliet appeared with the manuscript of The Mystery of the Cathedrales. The publisher recognized the visitor's similar ideas and phrases from weeks earlier. Canseliet returned with illustrator Jean-Julien Champagne, confirming him as the mysterious visitor. Champagne, born on January 23, 1877, was interested in art from a young age and reportedly began practicing alchemy at 16. In 1916, he met the 17-year-old Canseliet and became his student. According to Amberlane, in 1921, Champagne became the teacher of Ferdinand de Lesseps' son, a diplomat who established a laboratory in Bourges. Champagne boasted of being able to produce gold within 6 months, but only succeeded in reducing about 60 grams of metal. In 1922, he met Jules Boucher, a member of the National Assembly, who persuaded him to accept Gaston Sauvage as a student. Boucher later provided Amberlane with most of the information. Originally, starting from early 1925, Champenois and Canseliet lived in the attic room on the 6th floor of the same address in Paris. During this period, Champenois established a secret society, to which 2 works of Fulcanelli were dedicated. However, this group was limited to Champenois, Canseliet, Gaston, Boucher, and a few others, mentioning Fulcanelli for the first time through this group. In fact, over the years, Champenois told many people in writing and in person that he was Fulcanelli, even signing copies of The Mystery of the Cathedrales, owned by Boucher. Apparently, clues were also left in Fulcanelli's book. Amberlane noticed a shield on the last page of the original edition with a motto sounding similar to Julien Champenois. In 1936, when Amberlane visited the old address of Champenois and Canseliet, he found the concierge, Rabel, who informed him that during that time, only 3 people were received: Canseliet, Gaston, and Boucher. However, Canseliet vehemently denied and refuted the evidence that Fulcanelli was Champenois. The reason is quite interesting. Champenois was definitely dead by then, so he couldn't be Fulcanelli. In fact, Champenois died from absinthe poisoning in 1932. Later, rumors circulated about a third book by Fulcanelli, but it was never printed again. Boucher died in 1957, and Berger in 1978. Although Canseliet pursued alchemy all his life, he eventually admitted failure and died in the mid-1980s, ending the chapter of alchemical mysteries. If Fulcanelli were truly not Champenois and still alive, as some believe, it's hard to understand how he would let his friends and colleagues die despite having the ability to save them. Later generations tend to believe that Canseliet faithfully kept his promise, concealing Fulcanelli's true identity. If you like the program, you can share it with us by clicking like and subscribe. See you in the next episode.